Maurice Sendak is an author, illustrator, creator, and overall a beloved and brilliant artist. He is most widely known for Where the Wild Things Are, which he wrote and illustrated and ultimately received the Caldecott Medal for. Maurice Sendak was born in Brooklyn in 1928 to Jewish Polish immigrants. This was a very dark and traumatic time for his family, as most of his family overseas were victims of the Holocaust. Maurice grew up with a brother and a sister, though he was very sickly and spent most of his childhood indoors watching other kids play in the street as he drew them in his sketchbook. At age 12, he saw the movie Fantasia and decided before the movie was over that he would be an illustrator someday. Maurice continued to develop his identity as an artist throughout high school. In 1948, he illustrated his first book for a college level textbook titled The Atomic Millions. You can see several examples of his sketches here. After high school, Maurice put himself through art classes by working at the toy store FOA Schwartz as a window dresser, where he met Ursula Nordstrom, who had strong business connections to authors Margaret Wise Brown, Shel Silverstein, and E.B. White. Ms. Nordstrom took a strong liking to Maurice and connected him to multiple authors for whom he would go on to illustrate upwards of 50 books for throughout the 1950s, several of which are shown on the slide. Maurice is quoted as once saying, "If I have an unusual gift, it's not that I draw particularly better than other people. I've never fooled myself about that. Rather, it's that I remember things other people don't recall. The sounds and feelings and images, the emotional quality of particular moments in childhood." Once Maurice became an established illustrator, his brother Jack became a children's author. Jack wrote 2 books, The Happy Rain and Circus Girl, and asked Maurice to illustrate both of them. They both enjoyed this experience. Following this experience with his brother Jack, Maurice wrote and illustrated his first book, Kenny's Window, which is an imaginative tale of a boy seeking a garden through the guidance of a 4-legged rooster. The next book Maurice would write was meant to be titled Where the Wild Horses Are, until Maurice realized he was not satisfied with his skills in drawing horses. Instead, he settled on Where the Wild Things Are and drew from his inspiration of quirky family members from his dark childhood. Maurice published his imaginative tale Where the Wild Things Are in 1963 and sold 17 million copies. Some said this depicted disturbing monsters and even said it was psychologically damaging for children. It was banned in many places. In reflecting on his journey as an illustrator, Maurice said, "The job of an illustrator is to hug the words on the page," which speaks to the thought and purpose behind each picture in each of his stories. Maurice's artistic style involves contrast, like the green against the bright red, with bright tones of white on the left, while in Where the Wild Things Are, plain primary colors are not used. Instead, warm tones are used. In both illustrations, dark, heavy shading is used to create depth. Composition is another artistic element Maurice uses to help tell the story. The reader may notice that as the story goes on, the images become larger and larger as a form of foreshadowing that something big is close to happening. After Where the Wild Things Are, Maurice went on to write and illustrate 2 more books, In the Night Kitchen and Outside Over There. We can see just by the covers that Maurice uses eye-pleasing tones and beautiful shading in both. Maurice went on to collaborate with Carole King to create the musical Really Rosie, based on Sendak's books Chicken Soup with Rice, Pierre, One Was Johnny, Alligators All Around, and The Sign on Rosie's Door. He didn't stop there. Working on his musical Really Rosie inspired his love for stage production. He would take his talent and his vision to manage stage production and art in the opera. We can see classic elements of Maurice's work here, such as contrasting tones and imaginative themes. Maurice spent 50 years in a committed and fulfilling relationship with his partner, a psychiatrist, Eugene Glenn. Eugene sadly passed away in 2007, and Maurice noted in several of his last interviews that he was slowly dying of a broken heart. This picture was taken during what would be Maurice's last interview at age 83 with his dog Herman at his home in Connecticut. He noted in this interview that he can't believe he has become a typical old man, noting his discontent for modern times, specifically ebooks and Gwyneth Paltrow. Maurice Sendak had a stroke at the age of 84 and passed away 3 days later in a hospital in Connecticut. He will always be remembered for his brilliant stories and beautiful artwork. Rest in peace, Maurice Sendak.